Mari, you have to listen to it. Mira was dancing around me as I tried to put one of her plates on the stack in the cabinet. There's something therapeutic about the way plates stack together. Even if you were off by a centimeter, it would adjust itself and slide into place. I glanced at her. What is it again? It's this thing. This guy that I found online. And I'm going to stop you right there. I trailed and turned my back to her as I reached a cup to the second shelf. I have to stand on my tippy toes and push up against the counter to reach anything on the second shelf. I don't do guys online anymore, remember? I knew she did. But it is hard to ignore the 2 phone numbers I had to trash because of James. No, this is different, she insisted, her hand on her hip. It's like story time, but for girl time, you know? No, I don't know. What are you talking about? I grabbed the silverware and started organizing. First, the type of utensils and based on their size. Oh, come on, you know. Girl time, she emphasized. Oh, God, I groaned, rolling my eyes. Mari, I'm telling you, it's life-changing. I noticed that she was practically cradling her phone. Mira was the braver one out of the 2 of us. All through high school, she was unafraid to show her sexuality and had the confidence of a proud fairy princess. She dressed like one too. I sighed and pushed the silverware drawer back in. Okay, show me. Good girl. Look at me. Look at what I'm doing to you. Such a dirty little girl, aren't you? Car lights danced over my ceiling from the window. I couldn't deny the fact that my stomach was in knots. There was something about the sound of his moans, the juices swirling around, and the way he sucked in air that made something that was dormant in me resurface. You are my little fuck toy. God. I'll be a good girl and rub that clit for me. I could see why Mira was obsessed with this. But for me, there was something I couldn't fully give into. There was a wall in my mind. Was it James? Was it my guilt? Let me see you rub it in small little circles. Good girl. I sighed and set my earbuds on the table. Rolling onto my stomach, I pushed my cheek into the pillow. The silence in my room was cut by an echo in my ears as my eyes closed. Good girl. Someone needs to stop Stephanie Meyer, I thought to myself as I was setting out the new copies of Twilight on our display. These had been collecting dust in the back room until her new, reinvented copy of the first was announced earlier this year. Now people of my age who finally got over the phase were coming out of the woodworks to relive their preteen obsessions. Are these any good? A voice asked from behind me. I glanced over my shoulder to see a girl looking at the display I'd set up. She looked maybe 15, maybe slightly older. She had long hair, freckles. Reminded me of my sister. It depends on your preference, I said. I set the last book down. If you're looking for a supernatural romance, I would suggest something like Generation Dead of the Wolves of Mercy Falls series. I heard the relationship between Edward and Bella is really... She trailed off. I could tell she already made up her mind about what she wanted. Maybe she just wanted validation. Intense, she finished. A soft blush almost hid her freckles. I shrugged. It is. Just don't go hoping for a guy to sit in your bedroom watching you while you sleep, I warned, smiling. Marley, get over here and help with the register, Joan called. I winked at the girl and pulled my hair back into a ponytail as I slid behind the counter. Sorry about that. I took the book and scanned it. Shiver. The first Mercy Falls book. Good choice, I smirked. It was recommended to me, he shrugged. I bagged the book and handed it back to him. Have a good one. Part of my bangs fell into my face and I pulled them behind my ear. The girl walked up next and put a copy of Twilight on the counter. Artistic, maybe. No. You're not like the rest of the girls that work here, are you? You want more. I watched my ceiling fan rotate above me, feeling goosebumps on my thighs from the cool air. We couldn't afford an apartment with air conditioning, so any relief from California heat was welcome. I methodically swirled my finger around a strand of hair. It's just something I do. A nervous tick from childhood, maybe. My form of meditation. Oh, princess. Why do you let them trample over you like that? Always so eager to appease. I shrugged. I don't know. I murmured into the dark. Was it because I would cry as a child knowing that my dad would punish me for the C on my test? Was it because I wanted to make James happy? And so it meant that I let him do anything he wanted to my body. I didn't notice that I had pulled more hair into my fingers, twirling faster. How is it this stranger, online, practically knew me, knew what I was doing, knew how I would react to the things he said? Oh, princess, after tonight, you're all mine. Oh, your door. It locks from the inside. I rolled over onto my side. Scream. I know you won't. I've been watching you. I know how timid you are. Taking the blame for things out of your control. My heart pounded and my eyes widened. What just happened? My hand pulled out of my hair as focused on the audio playing in my ears to make sure I was hearing correctly. Shh, don't fret, little bird. We're gonna have some fun. A lump caught in my throat. My brain told my fingers to rip the earbuds out and throw them, as if they were burning my skin. But my hands couldn't move. Wouldn't move. After tonight, there are so many things I'm gonna teach you. How to be stronger, to stand up for yourself. But first, I have to break you. How could I listen to this? I realized my jaw had been clenching and my knees had curled into the fetal position. How does this turn someone on? I snatched my phone off the bed stand and scrolled into the comments, hoping to see someone else's appalled reaction. Damn, that's hot. Finally, a man to provide us with what we want. I work at a diner and have daddy issues now. My mouth dried and I bit the inside of my lip. Was I missing something? Are you on birth control at all? No. Perfect. I'm gonna get you pregnant. Oh, yes I am. Don't you dare try to fight back now. I ripped my earbuds from the cord and shut the app off of my phone. It was too real. I felt like my own body was violated again. Felt fluids where I didn't want them to be. I could feel James behind me again. I ran my fingers through my hair, pulling my bangs out of my face. Today was slow, but I like slow days. I could roam the shop and look at book covers, listen to my earbuds as long as there wasn't a customer around. I love the artwork on book covers or wine bottles. especially the ones that have raised detailing, that you can rub your thumb over and feel the texture change. "Joan, I'm going to get a coffee. Do you want anything?" I shouted to the back room. "I'm all right, hun," she responded as I shoved my debit card into my pocket, hiding my backpack under the counter. Donkey Coffee was right next door and had the best fun-flavored lattes in town. "Hi, can I get a white raspberry latte? Iced, please?" I asked without glancing at the menu once. "Whipped cream on that?" he asked. "That'd be amazing, thank you." I smiled. I recognized him. He worked here a lot in the afternoons. Maybe he was a student at the local college. "You having an okay day so far?" he asked as he wrote on my cup. "Other than the fact I couldn't sleep last night, sure." "Fine," I answered. "You?" You know, fine is just a way to cover up something else that you're feeling. He looked up at me as if he could read my mind. I felt the urge to twirl my hair again. "No, I'm doing fine, really." I tried to persuade both him and myself. After paying, he slid the receipt onto the counter, and I put my card back into my pocket. "You can pick up your drink down there." He nodded. "Thanks," I grinned, and grabbed a strand of my hair to run through my fingers. I clutched my card in my pocket out of anxiety, making sure I didn't drop it on the ground. "What can I get you, sir?" he said to the man who was behind me. Black coffee, please," he ordered. Drink in hand, I came back to our empty store and set my cup on the counter. Putting my earbuds in, I scrolled my playlist on my phone, but nothing sounded good. My eyes glanced around the store. I wasn't brave enough to do it, was I? Looking over my shoulder for Joan, I sighed and caved in. "There you are. Look at you, waiting for me." My heart skipped a beat, and I sat down on the stool behind the counter. It was like he was speaking directly to me, which made me uneasy. "I can smell you from here. You smell so intoxicating." I reached out for my drink and noticed my hand was shaking. If I was caught, would I be able to play it off as a podcast? I bit the inside of my lip. "Calm down, Jesus. Are you wet for me? Are you moist and dripping for me? You've been waiting for me all day. Let's take a good look at you." Air was caught in my throat as heat rushed to my cheeks. I felt the butterflies return to my stomach, and my legs squeezed together. I'm just aching, throbbing to have you, and I bet you are soaked. Such a good girl. My pelvis betrayed me and rocked forward, pushing my center against the stool and causing me to bite the inside of my lip harder. "Oh, shit." I sucked in air. I'm sorry. Am I interrupting you?" I heard a voice outside of my earbuds. I ripped at the cord, letting the earbuds fall out and land on the ground. I looked up, bewildered to find a customer holding a magazine. "I'm sorry. You look busy," he smirked. Flustered, I pulled my hair back into a ponytail. I'm sorry." I grabbed the magazine and scanned it. It was a good podcast, I fibbed. I glanced up at him and paused. Something about him looked familiar, but I couldn't place it. I bagged the magazine and handed it back to him. "Have a good one," I said, and once the coast was clear, I darted to the bathroom. Pulling my pants down, I sat, rubbing my face in my hands. I felt the warmth of embarrassment leave my face. I glanced down to stare at my cotton panties with a large wet spot stamped on them. I bet a lot of women on there are wives who are just bored, Mira lamented, as she swirled her mac and cheese. Bored with their vanilla husbands and looking for another 50 Shades replacement. And you're not bored with Cody, I egged her on with a smirk. Of course not, she scoffed. He knows how to keep things interesting, she winked. I didn't want to know. What do you think the attraction is to it? I asked out loud. Well, for one thing, it sounds real, doesn't it? She giggled and spooned her macaroni into a bowl. You can't tell me you don't gush when you hear some of the noises he makes. I covered my eyes with my hand. I don't have to tell you anything. I'm not into that sort of thing, I said. Into what sort of thing? Sex? She sat down at the table across from me. No, you know what I mean, I pushed back. Talk to me, Mari, she said with a gentle tone. Are you okay? I thought you would like listening to those audios. It's been a while since you've seen anyone. I just wanted... It's not that, Mira, I sighed. I get turned on by it. I can't deny that. But there's just something that I can't put into words. I can't figure out that part of me wants to fight so badly because I'm disgusted. But the other half craves more, as if I'm addicted. She raised an eyebrow at me. Are you addicted? Oh, stop it, I huffed. As I said, I'm not into that sort of thing. What I didn't want to admit to her was that not only had I listened to one at work, but I had my earbuds in on the bus, on the walk home, while I made dinner, folded my laundry. What part of it are you not into? She said as she took a bite. The choking, and the possessiveness, and the spanking, the daddy stuff, and when he calls you a gun girl? I stopped dead in my tracks as if I couldn't breathe. Suddenly my mouth became wet. The butterflies came back. Mira looked at me skeptically, her eyebrows raised. Maybe you are turned on by BDSM more than you thought. Maybe what happened with James made you push it out of your mind as a possibility. She popped more mac and cheese in her mouth. I sighed and sat back into my chair. If I would have said or done anything more, I would probably have to change my panties for the third time today. I felt a shiver run down my neck as I heard him sigh into my ears. I need to hear the little sounds that you make when I touch the inner side of your thigh, when I wrap my hands around your throat, when I tug on these nipples. Good girl. It only took me a couple of months to get through every audio posted onto his feed. But this one was the one I continually came back to. And closed my eyes and inhaled deeply, letting the cool air from my ceiling fan coat my body. You belong to me, and you are gonna give me so much pleasure. I'm literally throbbing right now. It's your fucking fault. You need to make it up to me. I don't have to make up anything to you. I heard my internal voice retaliate. Yeah, you do. Spread your legs for me. Air filled my lungs and caught in my throat as my legs widened on the bed. You need to know who you belong to. That you are mine. That you are my girl. You belong to no one else. Only I can show you exactly how you need to be loved. I felt my back arch in anticipation, my hands clasping the sheet on either side of me. Yes, Daddy, please. I belong to you, my voice whispered. The first time I ever said it in my head caught me off guard. It was so natural, as if I had always said it in that setting. Now it was like sugar on my tongue. Outside, everyone thinks you're this sweet, innocent girl. Yeah, what they don't know is that in here, you belong to me. Pleasure yourself for me. I clenched my teeth and moaned against my lips as my fingers slipped into my wet slit. Marley, I'm heading out, hon, Joan said as she pulled her purse onto her shoulder. Have a good weekend. You too, I hollered back. I put the last few books on the shelves in order. If only we had a store policy for those who pull out a book to look at it and put it on top of the rack instead of back where they got it, was then forced to stay after hours and then put them all back. The store playlist had been turned off, so the bookstore was quiet. Turning off the lights, I threw my bag over my shoulder. Just as I was about to put on an earbud, I paused outside of the shop. Turning the opposite direction, I went into Donkey. Hey, I said, relieved that he was still there. Hey, you're the girl that works at the bookstore, right? He asked, smiling. Yeah. I felt warmth rising into my cheeks. I wonder, does he like to be called Daddy? How can he tell if a guy likes that or not from the outside? Well, I have this for you. He set down a white raspberry ice latte on the counter with whipped cream. Do you have any plans this weekend? I shrugged. Not much, honestly. My roommate is out of town until next week, so I guess I get to do whatever I want, I smirked. Maybe if you came over, you could fuck me in the kitchen. Well, sounds like you're limitless, he agreed. I felt the presence behind me, and I stepped out of the way. Thanks again. He smiled after me, but turned back to the customer behind me. What can I get you, sir? I grinned as I left the shop, heading to the bus stop, sipping my drink. Whipped cream coating the tip of my nose. I plugged an earbud in and turned the volume up. Can I get that with extra rice, please? I asked the voice on the phone. Is that all for you? They said, taking my order. Yep, thanks. It'll be 20 minutes. Hanging up my phone, I put it on the charger and went into the bedroom. I looked through my closet for something more comfortable to throw on. Maybe my robe. No, too prissy. I pulled my oversized flannel off the hanger and slid the door closed. The sun had started to set and my room was bathed in orange light. I took my bra off and tossing it aside and buttoned the flannel up my front. I pulled my athletic shorts up my waist. I love how the hem of my shirt drags across the hem of my shorts and my thighs. How the soft flannel fabric brushed against my nipples, making them alert. Shaking my hair with my fingers, I walked out barefoot to the living room. The Lost Boys playing on TV. Drink some of this, Michael. David, the head vampire, said on the screen. Be one of us. Just as the main character was about to drink the bottle of blood, there was a gentle knock at my door. My head whipped over to it in confusion. Mira was on vacation with Cody until Wednesday. I didn't have any other friends that would surprise me at home. It's only been 15 minutes. There's no way China King delivered that fast. Unless, wasn't the guy from the coffee shop? I stood up from the couch and walked closer to the door. How would he have known where I lived? Maybe he asked Joan one day. But why would she tell him? I know I didn't tell him my address. Maybe he followed me back. Kind of creepy, but I opened my door and furrowed my brow in confusion. Hi, I said. A man stood at my doorway holding a bag of Chinese food. He didn't look like a delivery guy, though. He had dark jeans on, a t-shirt that hugged his body. His dark hair was styled, and there was a soft whiff of cologne. Hi. I saw this sitting outside your door. Didn't want anyone to snatch it. He offered the bag to me. Oh, thank you. I took it. Wasn't a completely odd thing to knock on someone's door for. You're welcome. He put his hands inside his pocket. He paused for a second, his eyes looking me up and down, pausing at the hem of my shirt and shorts. Look, I'm sorry. I kind of lied to you just now. My grip on the door tightened. I'm sorry? He chuckled lightly. It almost sounded familiar. But my phone died and I need to get a hold of my girlfriend. Do you mind if I use your phone? I saw the food at your door and just thought. My hand relaxed. Oh, sure. I glanced over my shoulder at my phone on the charger across the room. Let me get it, I offered, keeping the door open. I put the food on the counter and walked lightly to the end of the table. Thank you so much, he said as I turned my back to him. While I picked up my phone, I realized an audio episode was still on the screen. I heard my front door shut, then lock. My heart plummeted into my stomach. I'm sure my girlfriend would appreciate the help, if I had one. I heard his footsteps getting closer, until he loomed over me. What do we have here? He took my phone out of my frozen hands and analyzed the screen. Well, what a coincidence. I see you have good taste. He turned my phone off and set it face down on the tabletop. I swallowed what little saliva I had left in my mouth. My boyfriend's coming back soon. I don't think so. He shook his head. That order is for one, and I'm pretty sure you said your roommate is gone until next week, right? He chuckled again lightly. My veins ran cold. I ran back through the conversation in my mind. When? Did you like the treat I ordered for you, little one? My heart stopped pumping. Vital air and blood into my body. Everything came crashing into me at that moment, as if I had been thrown into a wall of glass, the tiny shards splintering my skin. It's you. I couldn't breathe. The glass puncturing my lungs. The voice that I had craved to fill my ears and bring me pleasure. An overwhelming sense of dread filled my body, starting from my toes. I knew we were just capable of. The drink wasn't drugged, and I felt different up to this point. It hadn't, but now my mind was racing. He heard me at the coffee shop. Why was I so fucking dumb? Mira wasn't coming home for days, and no one on my floor interacted with me before, much less ever interacted with me. I've been watching you for so fucking long. But you made it so easy. Left receipts, telling strangers about your plans. He shook his head and brought his hand up to my jaw. Baby girl, you should know better than to announce out loud that you're going to be alone for a few days. Maybe you can make a run for it. Did he lock your door? Of course he did. Your phone is turned off. And he is at least a foot, if not more, on your pathetic 5'2" frame. My heart was pounding out of my chest as his thumb traced my jawline to my lips. But it's okay, princess. I'm gonna take such good care of you. You won't need anyone else here ever again. I'm here now. How? Why me? I could barely push the words out of my dry throat. He smiled at this. He could tell that I didn't know what to do. He could probably smell it on me. When I saw you that day in the bookstore, I knew I had to have you. More glass splinters punctured my skin. He bought that was months ago. When I saw that pretty little neck of yours, I could picture my hands around it, Visualize the marks that you would wear to let everyone know that you are mine. My good girl. He stepped in front of me now, his hulking size making me feel even more like a small deer. You have a fighting spirit in you. I like that. You aren't obedient yet. In time I will teach you. But first, we're gonna have to tear that down, break you down, till you beg Daddy for more, won't we? My breath hitched in my throat, and I hurried my face away from his hand, turning towards the door. Oh, no. Baby girl, where do you think you're going? He snapped, grabbing me around the back of my neck. He pulled me back with ease until my back was pressed against him. His arm wrapped around the front of me and turned me around to face him. I didn't want to see his face. I felt tears welling in my eyes. My skin felt cold. It's okay, little one. I'm gonna take good care of you. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Look at me! He snarled. I felt his hands on the back of my neck again, this time forcing my eyes to meet his. His eyes felt cold, dark, but my body felt paralyzed, as if I couldn't move even if I wanted to. Good girl, he said. If you try to run from me again, I'm gonna punish you. And I don't think you're quite ready for that. He leaned down to me and breathed me in. I've been waiting to have you. Been waiting for the right moment to take you. I knew I couldn't make you mine before. But now that I know you, well, he glanced at my phone and chuckled again. Now that I know you've been a dirty little whore this whole time, wanting Daddy to fuck you and fill you with my cum and make you mine, huh, baby girl? No, I stammered, clenching my teeth. Tears threatened to spill over my cheeks. What was that? He snapped, grabbing my jaw and squeezing it. You have a mouth on you. Don't you, little one? We'll have to fix that, won't we? But first, Daddy needs to take what's his. Before I could fight against his hand, he grabbed me around the waist and threw me over his shoulder, storming to my bedroom. Let go of me, I screamed, kicking my legs and writhing as he slammed my door behind us. Stop it. The tears ran down my face as I closed my eyes, wishing I was dreaming. I landed on the bed in front of him. He grabbed my ankles and pulled me to the foot of the bed. Stop wiggling, he demanded. Hold fucking still. He grabbed my wrist in one hand and smacked me across the face. Who owns you? He roared. I refused to answer him. To this, I was met with another slap across my face. Answer me, you little brat. You do. My face stung as red patches sprung onto my cheeks. And who am I? He murmured. I could feel his breath on my skin. Your daddy. Good girl. Good girl. He grabbed the front of my flannel and pushed his hands apart, the buttons falling into my lap as he ripped it open, exposing my breasts. Look at you, princess. Ready for me. My breath was caught in my throat as the cool air from my ceiling fan brushed against my exposed nipples. There was no more fighting. I yielded access and allowed myself to glaze over. I fell back onto the bed while my eyes found a spot on the ceiling. His mouth captured one of my nipples, tugging and sucking on it. I've been waiting months to do this. He growled against my skin, kissing across my chest and my other breast, and taking it in his mouth. Have you ever wondered, this whole time, what it was like to have a daddy? Have you fantasized and dreamt of me ravaging you, fucking you, punishing you? This whole time, I have been patiently hunting you, princess. You have been melting in my hands, waiting for me. Ironic. I swallowed and continued looking up the ceiling, detached. He started kissing down the center of my torso, his hands sliding down my sides. Oh, baby girl, your smell is intoxicating. You're so perfect. His kisses stopped in my waistband, and he teased it with his teeth. Take these off, he instructed. I didn't move. I said, take these off, he scolded. At this, I did myself a disservice and tried to roll over in defiance. Don't you fucking... He grabbed me by my hips and pushed me back onto the bed. There's that fight in you, he grinned, and chuckled deep in his throat. He likes a challenge, but you aren't going anywhere. Not until Daddy gets what he wants. He pulled down on my shorts, discarding them onto the floor and shoved my legs apart, forcing a noise out of my throat that I didn't even recognize. See, baby girl, even when you want to fight it, your precious little body wants to give in to me. Pushing against my legs with one arm, he leaned down closer to my panties, kissing softly on the fabric and breathing me in. Oh, baby girl, you smell even sweeter than I imagined. Before I could comprehend or distract my mind, I heard a ripping noise from between my legs. And suddenly, felt coolness slam against my exposed center. At this, I sucked air through my teeth. He was right. My body had betrayed me. My brain wanted to fight, to run, but my body wanted to melt under him, wanted him to touch me and take me. I snapped back into focus, looking down at him as he dragged his tongue up my center, moaning. You're such a good girl. So nice and wet for Daddy, he murmured, kissing my clit and sucking it lightly. My hips bumped against his lips, my breath hitching in my throat, my eyes closing in pleasure. That's right, baby girl, he said, kissing my swollen clit again. It's okay, princess. You've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this. This pussy belongs to me now. He sucked my clit again. Rolling his tongue around it as he slipped 2 fingers into my warm slit. I couldn't hold it back even if I wanted to. It moaned forced its way out of my throat as my body rocked against him. Now you understand, he murmured. He flicked his fingers inside me, sending waves up my body. I felt my muscles trembling, my breath coming faster. This is my pussy now. You are my good little girl. And I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want with my wet little fuck toy. Please, I whimpered. My legs tried to buck up against his arm that held me down. Please what? He whispered against my clit, again kissing it. Please, I moaned this time. Please what? Please, Daddy, don't stop, I cried, feeling more liquid gushing around his fingers. Without saying a word, he grabbed my hips and flipped me over in a smooth motion. My feet hung off the bed as my knees supported my weight. I pushed up on my hands, trying to turn around to see him, but he was met with his hand around the back of my neck, pushing my face down against the blanket. I'm gonna make you mine, princess. Now are you sorry for trying to run from Daddy? I felt his hands caressing my ass. Rubbing it lovingly. Are you sorry? My breath was shaking. Yes, Daddy. Please don't hurt me, I whimpered. Baby girl, I didn't ask if I was hurting you. I asked if you were sorry. He brought his hand up and back down again. The smack echoing in my room. A whining skipped my lips, feeling the same stink from my face now on my ass. Are you sorry from running away from Daddy? He said again. Are you sorry? Another smack landed on my tender skin. Oh, Daddy, crying won't help you, baby girl. Are you sorry? Another smack brought more tears to my eyes. I'm sorry, Daddy, please. I won't run away from you again. I'm so sorry, I pleaded. Good girl. He gave me one more smack across my cheeks before stepping back to unzip his pants. You stay right there, baby girl. My God. You're dripping for Daddy, aren't you? I felt my inside squirm in anticipation, my pulse quickening in fear of what was going to happen next. It had been years since I had sex with James. Would it hurt? Don't be scared, little one. He spread my cheeks and plunged his tongue deep into my slit. My legs squeezed, feeling beads of liquid dripping down my thighs. I'm just gonna fuck you so hard. Stretch you out with my thick, throbbing cock. At this, he stood up behind me, and I could feel his member pressing up against my wet lips, and the butterflies filled my stomach. Don't worry, princess, he murmured, pressing more against me. I'm gonna take care of you. I felt my center give way as he pushed into me, my insides rearranging to fit him. I let out a noise that was a cross between a moan and a whimper as my walls stretched around him. My body tingled when I heard his groans of pleasure wash over my back. That's it. Good girl, he gasped, sucking air through his teeth, and paused inside me for a second. God, you're so fucking tight. He slid out and pushed in again slowly. His hands grabbing onto my ass for support. I can't, I cried. Both pain and pleasure mixing inside of me. My hands clenching the blankets. Yes, you can, baby girl. And you will. He grunted as he pulled out slightly again and pushed back in. Fuck, yes, you will. Take Daddy's cock in that sweet, tight cunt. Oh, princess. This time he pulled back, he pushed harder until my ass met his hips, forcing the rest of his length inside me, while he groaned and I gasped for air, suffocated by pain and pleasure and adrenaline. Oh, fuck, baby girl, he growled. He started a rhythmic pace, in and out, back and forth, pulling my hips back onto him as he pushed. Each time I could feel more juices sliding around his cock, leaking down my legs as he began to pump in and out of me. God, your little pussy is so fucking good. He grabbed the back of my neck, pinning me down in the bed. Fuck, you feel so good. There was no pain now. He was sliding in and out of me with ease, to the amount of juices accumulating inside of me. He wasn't wrong though. I was fucking tight. With each time he pulled back, my walls would give in, only to be forced open again. Breathe, baby girl, he instructed. I even noticed my face changing colors. I gasped for more air, and my hands staring at the blankets beneath me. I felt a strong pull in the bottom of my stomach. Oh, fuck. Something growing inside me that I couldn't control. I want to. I need to. I stammered between gasps. Are you gonna come on Daddy's cock? He challenged, never slowing his pace. I can already feel your pussy clenching. Yes, please, Daddy, I begged, my back arcing deeper into him. Oh, fuck. Princess, he growled, his head falling back in pleasure. Fuck, I feel so good. Do you want to on, baby girl. Please, I screamed. The feeling in my body, equivalent of electricity sparking in my veins. My inner thighs are trembling to keep myself lifted now. Sweat and juices mixing. Come for me, he commanded. Come on down his cock, princess. I can only hear my muffled screams of pleasure echoing off my bedroom walls. My body was paralyzed. My insides felt as if they had exploded. My thighs twitched and bucked against his pounding. As I closed my eyes, I heard his growls of pleasure. Fuck, baby girl. Fuck. 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 Yes. Fuck, yes. After a few more bumps, he slammed hard into me, pulling me back onto him and holding me there. A warmth filled my insides. I could feel my walls clenching as he pulsated inside of me, milking a sweet cum deeper into my pussy. Princess. Look at what you did to Daddy, he groaned, and caressed my ass once more. My breathing began to slow as sensations filled my limbs again. I felt him slowly pull back out of me. A rush of liquid spilled out. I whimpered at this, my legs squeezing together. Come here, baby girl, he murmured lightly, running his hands up my center. I flinched, oversensitive, and fell onto my side, on my bed. He curled up next to me, wrapping his arm around me and offered a sopping wet hand. Instinctively, I took his fingers in my mouth. I closed my eyes as I swirled my tongue, lapping up the sweet, salty, warm liquid he saved for me. I tasted my sweet juices and savored his warm cum in my mouth. He sighed softly and kissed the top of my head. I'm so proud of you, little one, he murmured against my hair. My body was still twitching, still trying to comprehend what happened. His strong arms pulled me tight to him, as if trying to ground me. Shh. You are so amazing, he purred, as bangs fell into my face. He tucked them behind my ear. Did you like that, princess? Was it everything you had hoped for? I looked up at him and nodded, unable to find my voice. Not that I could find any words to describe how good I felt anyway. Good, he smiled and kissed me, plunging his tongue into my mouth. I could taste my juices and felt a twitch of excitement between my legs again. And just think, princess, we have nothing but the next couple of days. No one to bother us. Just you and me. He kissed my nose and then my forehead. I curled into his chest and felt his pulse against my skin. Closing my eyes, I pictured the first night I heard him take a woman by force. My stomach swirled, thinking back to his words. After tonight, there's so many things I'm going to teach you. How to be stronger, to stand up for yourself. But first, I have to break you. I remember thinking that if it were me, I would fight him until I was dead. I would claw at him, run from him, scream for help. What I didn't realize was that he is what I needed. When I thought I knew who he was, he knew better for me. Just when I thought I had myself all figured out, I guess I was wrong. Fuck. That felt really good. This is a very intense story, so here's a blooper of me reading the beginning. Okay, just remember this is a fantasy. Good night. Hi, can I get a white raspberry latte iced, please? Please? Black coffee, please, he ordered. Drink in hand, I came back to our empty store and set my cup on the counter.